So we're great to this morning to be joined by Reality Finance. We've got Neil and Ed, who I'm going to let them introduce themselves shortly. But this morning we're going to kind of be covering off Innov8's partnership with Reality Finance and how, with their support, we can make your projects and your IT solutions literally become a reality. So without much further ado, I'm going to pass over to Neil and to Ed to just explain a little bit more about themselves, a little bit about where Reality come into the picture in partnership with Innov8, and then also go through Monthlii, which is a really exciting new opportunity to actually engage with our customers with Reality Finance to bring IT projects, whether it's software, infrastructure, and everything in between, into bringing that business transformation and making it happen a little bit faster. So over to yourselves, Neil.
Lovely, Michael. Thank you very much. And I liked your pun earlier on of the reality bit. It's a nice little play on words there. Good morning, everybody. By way of introduction, my name's Neil Whittier. I'm the Partnership Director here at Reality Finance. My role is to manage and look after all our strategic partnerships within the business. And Innov8, who we've been working with now for quite a good number of years, are classed as, or we see very much as, a key partner of ours, whereby we work very closely with Innov8 to offer their customers, yourselves, the ability to pay monthly, which I'll go through in a bit more detail shortly. A little bit about myself. I've been with Reality just coming up nearly 22 years. Started out on the as a very youthful 23-year-old, and still here at the company 23 years later. And now, as I say, I now manage the partnership side of the business. Ed, do you want to do a little introduction yourself as the account manager for Innov8?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm effectively your day-to-day face of the business. So any queries you need regarding any financing, I'm the guy from the day-to-day point of view. I know I've spoken to a number of you already, but look forward to introducing myself as we go on.
Lovely, excellent. Thank you, Ed. Right, so I shall now share my screen, and when it comes to technology, hopefully we'll get this right. Okay, right. Okay, hopefully can you all now see that screen there? Which
that's great.
The pay monthly. So just to give you an idea about Reality Finance, as a business, we've been going since 2000. So we're very much a well-established player in the tech space. We started the business on the basis of funding for technology and software. The business has grown over that years. We now fund anything that a business requires, so we become the ability to fund every sort of asset a business is looking for. But our core focus in the business still remains very much in the tech sector, certainly with our vendor partnerships like Innov8. As a business, as I mentioned, IT, software and equipment finance is our core bread and butter. We're not like a traditional bank in the sense that we act in the sense like a bank facility for a customer. We actually focus very much on the basis of actually looking at customer specific needs for specific purchases, and then fund that around the security on the asset, as opposed to using banking covenants and overdraft facilities like you would normally get from your existing bank. And our core business is very much a vendor-driven business. So we get a lot of our business on the back of vendor channels. We've been working with Innov8 now for probably at least 15 years. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Michael, but it's been a long time now that we work very closely with Innov8. And during that time, we funded a lot of Innov8's clients when it comes to them making the purchase for their for their software and the services alongside that. But the great thing with Reality is because we've got such a strong relationship with our partners and with our support of our customers, we find that traditionally about 1 in 3 of our customers actually buy from us again. So we can actually fund other equipment that the business is looking for outside of what they may be looking at buying from the initial purchase with the vendor. So as a business, we're fully FCA authorised, so we're regulated across a large panel of lenders. We currently operate about 35 lenders as a business we've got access to. Plus, also we do also run our own book as well in terms of lending our own money for customers as part of our proposition for our customers. But we also have other areas of avenues as well for the business, which are, as well as just doing asset finance, we also look at things like invoice discounting, corporation tax loans, VAT loans, and other various different other specialty products that a business may need when they're developing and growing your businesses. So in terms of what we're known for in the industry, as well as being specialised in very much in the tech sector, where a lot of our older competitors have moved away from focusing on specific areas, we've actually kept our core structure of the business, which is very much around the tech sector, and we're very well known in the industry. Although yes, we haven't got, may not recognise us as a Barclays or a Lloyds or a HSBC in terms of that sort of name, but actually within the vendor industry, speaking to vendors that work in the tech sector, we're actually very well known as a business. And that boils down to our fast, quick, efficient service, supporting our vendors and in turn you as customers. Our friendly way of conducting our business. And also, I think certainly this day and age, one of the most important things when it comes to dealing with finance and making a significant purchase in your business, and that is transparency. Transparency is very, very crucial. I know finance is not the most exciting of subjects, and I know over the last 10 years or so, certainly on the back of the 2008, 2009, finance very much got a bit of a bad rap, but we've always, with our vendors and with our customers, we've always been very transparent with what we do. That's actually given a lot of our customers the trust that they place in us, and hence, as I said earlier on, 1 in 3 of our customers on average will buy from us again. And as you can see from the bottom right hand corner of the screen, we've got 5 stars on FIFA as well. A lot of our customers have given us very glowing reviews in terms of the service they've actually had from us. So the main reason why we're sort of here today to talk about is actually look at what, in terms of what we can actually look at funding for you as customers of Innov8. And one of the things that I'm always asked for when it comes to from customers and vendors is, we don't have the budgets at the moment to make this solution happen, or we don't want to spend the money, we want the solution, we want to grow our business, we're very keen to grow our business, but we just don't really want to spend large sums of capital sums up front. Do you have the ability to pay monthly? Well, the answer to that is yes, we do. If you look at as individuals these days, we pay our cars monthly. Most people pay their car insurance monthly. We pay our utility bills monthly. Most household bills these days are paid monthly. And if you translate that into the business world, it's a very similar principle. Go back 15, 20 years, the mentality was always a case of if we didn't have the budget, we would look, we wouldn't necessarily do it. We would only tend to finance almost if it was a distressed purchase. But these days in age, as access to finance and as access to monthly ability to pay monthly has actually become more readily available, businesses are now looking at things in a different mentality. They're now looking actually, rather than spending large sums of money on projects like IT spend, software purchases, consultancy, and these sort of projects, which, yes, they're great for a business, they're going to grow your business, they're going to benefit your business. But a lot of businesses owners, FDs, IT managers, directors, they're all looking at things a little bit differently now, thinking, okay, where is that money better spent? Could I use that money to actually invest as working capital in my business, or add it to the marketing budget, or employ new staff, and then actually use the ability to pay monthly for things that I can actually pay monthly for? So software and IT has very much become something now that a lot of businesses are actually now saying, right, let's just pay for it monthly and spread it easy, keep the money in the business and use it elsewhere to actually grow my business. So with Innov8, we have the ability, using our monthly partner program, so we can actually now fund your software licenses, so your Sage products and other software licenses, but not just the licenses themselves. We can actually build in around that your initials. One of the biggest hurdles these days when it comes to funding is people say the same thing. Yes, we pay monthly for the actual licenses themselves. I mean, I do a lot of work in the Sage sector with vendors that do Shopify, Autodesk. Very, very similar structure. You pay monthly for the software, but the actual initials, the upfront cost to actually implement that software, is where a lot of businesses find it becomes very difficult. So what we're able to do now is actually wrap those initials into a fixed monthly payment over terms from 12 up to 5 years, to give the ability of you as a business to actually spread that cost and make the deal a lot easier to actually transact, and actually give you the ability to bring the deal forward, so you can actually do the work now rather than having to delay things whilst you're waiting for budgets. And that can include the license fees in that. So we can do your licenses. Yeah, if it's a term license, a lot of term licenses tend to be over 12 months, but a lot of software companies or the software authors give the ability to actually have a discount if you finance over multiple years. So for example, with some of the Sage softwares, if you buy 3 years worth of licenses, you get a discount. So rather than shelling up 3 years worth of licenses in one go with cash, pay for it monthly, and the discount you save actually covers any offsets, any costs you may incur in terms of actually things like RPI increases when it comes to annual increases for the software. So you're actually saving money and paying for it monthly, fitting in the budget. And as part of that, we then build in the initials into that, any upgrades you may have moving from an old platform to a new platform, migration costs, which we all know are very expensive, especially moving data across from one platform to the other. That is usually a very big part of any cost of moving platforms. We can also look at things like cloud servers. So again, if you're signing up for a cloud server for a number of years, we can actually build that into the agreement as well. And then support costs alongside that. So what we're really saying to you as a business is, rather than having different costs, so rather than having to fund out the cost for the licenses and then pay an annual cost for the support on that, and then a separate cost for your cloud servers, and then any other bits and pieces like migration and upgrades, if you fix everything to a single 1 monthly payment and term it over between 12 or 5 years, you'll find is, as a business, it's actually really straightforward to say, right, for 1 monthly payment for the next, let's just say 3 years, for example, I've got everything I need is covered under one single monthly payment. No hassle, nothing to worry about. It's all there. And just looking at some examples. So these are a couple of deals that we've done recently. We had a business, again, I'm not going to name any names for obvious reasons, but we had a business who wanted to upgrade to Sage Intacct, but they also wanted to include 365 into it as well. Microsoft at the moment are putting some quite heavy increases on their annual license renewal, especially on things like 365 and Dynamics. Sometimes these increases up to 5 to 7% per year, which if you multiple that over, say, 3 years, it's potentially looking at between sort of 15 and sort of 21% increase over the course of that term. However, what the customer did is they actually wrapped it into a single monthly payment, upfront cost of £20,000, and over 3 years, it's costing them £668 a month. Now, as a business owner, what's easier for you to swallow at the moment? £20,000 upfront initial investment, take it straight out of cash flow, or £668 a month taken monthly out of your OPEX budget. And with the RPI increases that Microsoft and Sage and other different services are including, the finance of this customer is around about, I believe, around about sort of 6 or just over 6.5% on the rate. So actually, if you compare to the 15 to 21% RPI increases set by the likes of Microsoft and Sage, 6.5% finance rate is actually a good rate to get at the moment to fund that over 3 years. So actually, the business is actually going to save the money by paying monthly. Another example, we also had another SME business that needed a very much more of a get my words up, put my teeth back in, a bespoke consultancy and additional integration into their CRM project, as well as upgrading the servers. Interestingly enough, quite a lot of businesses are actually, in certain sectors, are actually still having to have servers on premise, certainly in regulated sectors like healthcare and finance, whereby they can't always go into the cloud due to where data is stored. So you can imagine replacing a server and the bespoke work was, again, it's a very, very big spend for most business. This project was it was just over £100,000, and this customer's paying just over £2,000 a month over 5 years. Again, they've got a server which will last 5 years, so they're paying for over the lifespan of the equipment, and they were able to do the bespoke consultancy work alongside that to actually integrate the additional work into the CRM. And again, if you look at the cost as a business, how many businesses out there like yourselves would have £100,000 probably sitting there at the moment to actually go straight into a project of this such? A lot of businesses will probably have to say, okay, let's eke out the life of the server for another maybe 3 or 6 months, potentially risking it falling over or being out of updates as Microsoft are coming to end of life on a lot of their old server licenses, or do the project now, pay for it just over £2,000 a month. Again, it was a very easy decision for this customer to make. 5 years, £2,165 a month. Again, they got the server, all the support, warranty work, and the other integration work into the CRM. It's all covered now for the next 5 years. And from a business point of view, it gives very good peace of mind. And the great thing is, don't have to keep going to your Innov8 account manager if you actually want to start playing around with some numbers. Through our monthly partner portal, we've actually worked very closely with Innov8 to integrate a customer-facing quote tool, which, as you can see from the link on screen, and no doubt, Matthew, you'll send this around to your customers afterwards as well. You can see you can actually log in and actually start getting some quotes yourself. So if you are looking at upgrading your Sage solution or replacing your server and or other bits and pieces you may be looking at, you can click on the link, and what that does is it gives you the ability to play around with some numbers. From that, you can get an idea of what it's going to cost you to change your solution. And also moving forward as well is when you do get quotes from your account manager at Innov8, they'll all be coming out moving forward with a monthly payment option on it as well. So again, you can compare the cost. You'll see the upfront cost, the solution, and you'll probably have I'm guessing, a 3 and a 5 year option on the quote as well, with the ability to actually then apply directly for the finance from the quote just by simply clicking a button, and then that goes straight into our systems and to Innov8, and then straight into underwriting for a very quick 24-hour, if that, typically 6 to 8 hours, but certainly up to 24-hour approval on anything up to £100,000. And Ed, as your account manager, will be managing these agreements, and he'll be working very closely with Innov8 to ensure that as a business, when you are getting your proposals from Innov8, you have that ability to pay monthly. And if you have any questions, Ed's always going to be on the end of the line to answer those questions, talk through the quotes, put the deal into underwriting, get all the documentation sorted out on e-sign, and keep it a very simple, very easy, hassle-free service to ensure that there's no delay if you go down the monthly route in then starting the project. Because I know a lot of companies at the moment, there could be quite long lead times when it comes to actually getting work booked in, as especially with businesses doing a lot of upgrades, certainly around things like Windows 11 and Windows Server upgrades recently. So yeah, if you're going to want to start the work quickly, get it paid monthly, get the funding approved, Innov8 can then start doing things quickly. So again, I can sit here and talk about monthly, I can talk about finance, I can probably send you all to sleep if I talk too much. So I'm not going to go into the real technical ins and outs of why, why finance is a great tool to use. I'm just going to talk about a very few quick points which hopefully will resonate to you as either a business owner, a finance director, or even an IT director. At the moment, all businesses out there, whether it's small businesses, large businesses, SMEs, everybody's putting levers at the moment. With the way the economy is, people are juggling. They're putting levers to ensure that every area of their business is actually being able to do what needs to be done. But at the same time, we all know things are difficult at the moment, and a lot of businesses are looking at things and saying, look, if I can spread the cost, ease my cash flow, I'm going to look at doing that. Cash is king, cash flow is important. And at the moment, businesses just do not want to spend the cash unless they absolutely have to. But at the same time, not want to sound doom and gloom, a lot of vendors that I work with, and also a lot of customers tell me the same thing. They say, look, we know it's going to turn. We know that the economy is going to turn. There is going to be an upshoot. So we don't know exactly when, but we need to be prepared for when the upshoot comes. So is it better for us to do this sort of work now when we've got more time to do it and use our paying monthly to ease the cash flow? So when it does turn, we haven't got to worry about a last minute panic and doing all these upgrades and changing to our latest version of Sage or upgrading our servers. Do it now, use monthly. When it does turn, you're all ready to go. Access the latest technology. The great thing with paying monthly, and I'm an advocate, I don't like to use the word leasing, although we put it on this, we have put it on this presentation here, but I like to say that if you pay monthly for your technology, you're always going to have the ability to have the latest tech. What I mean by that is refresh cycles. Laptops, desktops are a great example. Most businesses tend to buy them piecemeal. Laptop breaks down, laptop reaches end of life. Most businesses eat them out. Laptops brought, at the moment, a lot of businesses are still using laptops that were bought around COVID. What we're now coming up 5 years since that. Most of if you actually look at paying for it monthly, you can actually enter into a really great refresh cycle, upgrade all your tech, so your software licenses, all your laptops, your desktops, your servers, enter a refresh cycle that when it comes to 3 years down the line, you take everything out, put new tech in, do an upgrade, have the latest tech. If you need to add stuff along the course of the agreement, fine. You may find that 6 months down the line, you need to add some more licenses or some more laptops, more users. Easy. We just literally just run it onto the existing agreement, run it alongside, so it all finishes at the same time. Again, you've always got access to the latest technology. Not having to eke out technology until it's literally on its last legs by paying monthly. There are also tax benefits as well. Again, I'm not going to go into the too technical details, but we show it on all our quotes. But basically, as a OPEX spend, you can offset your rentals against your corporation tax liability at the end of each your financial year. So businesses say paying 19% corporation tax, as long as you're making a profit, you can take 19% of those rentals you pay over each year of the agreement and then deduct that off your corporation tax liability. And that's the same if you're on the 25% corporation tax rate. You can actually offset them against your corporation tax liability. So again, you're paying less into the less corporation tax, paying for it monthly, offsetting the cost and your cash flow, and taking advantages of the tax benefits as well. And also maintenance and support, an often overlooked thought when it comes to making a purchase. A lot of businesses look at the initial cost of the licenses or the tech, the laptops, desktops, and they also forget that actually we need some support on this, or we need to make sure we've got it maintained. Well, that's easy. We build it into the agreement. Again, fixed monthly rental, setup costs, your initials, your monthly rental for the equipment, the hardware itself, the software licenses, your maintenance and any ongoing support, wrapped up into a single monthly rental, giving you peace of mind, knowing the fact that you can break it down to a cost per user per month, cost per user per day, however you want to break it down. You find that actually, most of the solutions are, if you break it down to a cost per user per month, it's actually a very, very small monthly cost that you actually need to actually look at. So paying monthly includes everything in the agreement. Right, that's enough of me rambling along. This is the bit where I'm going to open up to you all, and yeah, if you've got any questions, please fire away.
So there's the Q&A chat which people can utilize to post a question in. If anyone wants to speak up as well, I think I can have the ability to unmute someone's microphone, so just need to probably raise the hand and I can unmute a microphone. But whilst waiting for a couple of questions to come through, Neil, covered off a lot of bases there. I think there's some really good examples as well that you gave around those two businesses in terms of kind of I guess qualifying purchases, upper limits, lower limits, typical things that you see day to day. What would the typical kind of finance value be, and is there a maximum, is there a minimum that you can support?
Yeah, well, we don't have a typical one's a difficult question to answer, really. We're, as a business, our minimum, a minimum that we could fund is £1,000. We don't have an upper limit. We have some transactions that go into the hundreds of thousands. We've done a couple of deals over the last sort of 5 or 6 years that have been actually just shy of £1 million. Okay, yeah, they're few and far between. But in terms of a business, our average ticket value in terms of our average invoice value is around about £35,000 as an average. But the great thing for us is, unlike a lot of mainline traditional banks who would get very funny when it comes to funding tech, if you go to your bank and said, oh, I want to fund some software licenses or some laptops, a lot of them would look at you like you've got two heads. They don't like it. They don't really understand it. And that what they would rather you do is they'd rather just say, fine, we'll just extend your overdraft or give you an extension on any finance facilities that you have with us. The downside of that is most likely you've got security on those loans, on those finance and those overdraft limits. So why tie up those sort of purchases in your bank when your bank facility is better used elsewhere? Tie those into an asset finance agreement, which is actually then not secured against your business. And we don't mind if it's a £2,000 laptop. I've got customers that buy laptops or me, £1,000 or £2,000 at a time, but they're always buying throughout. Again, I don't have any issues funding the small transactions, but at the same time, we have businesses that will come to us to say, we're doing a complete and utter IT refresh, or we're upgrading our Autodesk licenses or our SAG system, and it's 100 and it could be 100 plus £160,000 project or £50,000-60,000 project. Can you fund it? Yes, we can. So we don't have any discrimination in terms of we're not sitting here saying we want the big deals only. We'll support our customers whatever they want to purchase.
Fantastic. So we've had a couple of questions come through just whilst you were answering that
Brilliant.
one there. So the first one here, in terms of funding, geographical locations, can you fund customers in the Republic of Ireland as well as UK?
For UK coverage is yes, we can do everything in the UK and including Northern Ireland, and that's with our mainline panel of funders. We do have access to the Republic of Ireland with a funder. So we can look at funding in the Republic of Ireland. Unfortunately, things are a little bit clunkier out there in terms of the length of time it takes to get things done over there, but we can fund that. So that's not a problem at all.
Fantastic. And then the other question is just coming, I think just a little bit more in terms of the tax relief benefit, if there's any or is it more of a specific thing that you probably would get into on a quote? I don't know if just expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, the tax saver ones, it's easy to explain when you've actually got a quote in front of you. that shows it. But in a nutshell, it's one of those sort of things that, as I'm not an accountant or technically a financial advisor, it's hard one to me to actually sort of say I'm actually giving you advice on as such. It's something that we illustrate in all our quotes. So we do show all the tax savings a customer can potentially get from paying on one of our technology agreements. But in a nutshell, the main requirement is a business has to be profitable and paying corporation tax in order to be able to claim that back. So what will happen is at the end of the financial year, your accountant will get a document from us at the start of the agreement, at the start of each year of the agreement, and that will have the schedule of payments on it and the VAT. That's then used to claim back the VAT as you would do every quarter. And that schedule of payments, your accountant will take that at the end of your financial year. They'll then add up how many of those monthly payments that you've paid over that year. And then they will then say, right, well, this year we're paying 19% corporation tax. I'll then deduct 19% of those total payments we paid on the agreement that year. That is what I can then deduct off my corporation tax bill to the HMRC. But it's something your accountant does behind the scenes. It's not something that you as a business owner or an FD or an IT manager or whatever would have to do themselves. It'll actually be your main accountants who will do all that potential legwork.
Fantastic. And as ever, I think if it's on an individual cases, it's probably one to reach out to your account manager, who can then obviously liaising with Ed and yourself to get into any of the detail. I'll just give him another moment if there's any more questions coming through. But other than that, I think we've pretty much done here for this morning. All I was going to say to wrap up is this session has been recorded. So if you want to share this with a colleague or watch something back, the recording will go out to everybody who registered, and we'll also host this on our website, so you can watch it back at your own leisure. But I don't think there's anything more that's been coming through. So what I will do is maybe just give the final word for yourself, Neil, and then we can end this morning's call.
Lovely. Thank you. Yes. Really, yeah. The only thing I'll say is, as a final thought on this is, some of you are probably, as business owners, are already using the ability to pay monthly. In that case, fantastic. That's for those of you that aren't looking at it. And I know some people still have a very strong mentality about the adverse to actually paying anything they perceive to be paying any interest in finance. Just have a conversation with Ed or myself if you have any questions on it, because you'll be surprised at actually how, if you look at things on a monthly basis, actually how it can really help your business in terms of the ability to actually just spread that cost and make it easier. And you'll start to see actually how much money I can then reinvest back in my business by not tying up large capital sums into a technology or a software purchase, which, although is going to benefit my business and it's going to grow my business, in essence, it's probably dead money sitting there. Use monthly, pay for it monthly, use that money that you will save by paying up front to reinvest, grow your business, use it marketing, employ new staff, stock, whatever, but don't tie up money in something which in essence is a depreciating asset. Use it to actually make it something that can be appreciating for your business. And yes, and Reality are here to support you. And we look forward to hopefully having some more conversations.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Neil. And yeah, as I said, as ever, if you need anything directly, reach out through the account management team. They can link you guys into the guys at Reality. But yeah, thank you very much, and look forward to hearing and speaking to you all soon.